When the F-Type was unleashed in 2013, it was a highly competitive sporting GT car. It looked great, sounded lovely, went like stink, and was very well priced beside its rivals from Porsche & Co. And when the even better looking coupé model appeared a year or so later, things got better still for the F-Type. But the rate of progress in the car industry has been rampant over the last 5 or 6 years, to a point where the F-Type was starting to feel quite dated, especially in the way it drove compared with its best rivals. Enter the car you see here, a heavily revamped F-Type that's been sharpened all round visually and whose dynamics, say Jaguar, are in a totally different league compared with the previous cars. So, are they telling the truth, or is the F-Type still little more than a relic compared with the 911 turbos, Audi R8s and all new Corvettes of this world? We drove the hottest version, the 575R, in Portugal recently to find out, which by the way replaces the SVR model, which Jaguar says it has no plans to replace.
They have made an awful lot of changes to the F-Type R, not just in dropping the SVR. Design-wise, you can see, as we've already talked about, I personally happen to think it looks significantly more attractive than it did before. A fair bit more delicate around the nose, particularly. But that's subjective, that's up to you. What's different in here are this new TFT instrument display, which is switchable and is super clear, very intuitive to use, and basically it's just excellent. But the oily bits, as I say, they have made a lot of changes to them. The front is slightly softer than before, the rear is slightly stiffer than before. They've got new electric diffs, the dampers are all new, anti-roll bars are different sizes, but the biggest thing of all, the thing that they're most proud of, the Jaguar engineers, with this new F-Type, is the steering. They've basically completely started again in terms of calibration, and you really can feel it on the move. This thing steers really, really nicely. I mean, the old F-Type had quite nice steering, but it was a bit meaty and cumbersome. They've taken quite a lot of the weight out, and yet added quite a lot of precision. And you really can put this. You can put the front end of this car absolutely where you want to, in any corner. But the best bit about the F-Type R is the way it goes. 575 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque means it is rapid, seriously rapid, especially if you flick it into dynamic, when you get much punchier steering response, a louder exhaust, although there is a button, I like this, there's a button to chill the exhaust out, so on startup you don't have to apologise to the neighbours, unless you want it to be really noisy on startup, in which case you press the button. I like that as a new factor. Chassis wise, it's not soft, but it does ride really well. It's just this steering, so much better than before. Same brakes, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. In fact, it stops really, really well, this car. And because you've got four-wheel drive, like it or not, there is massive traction everywhere as well. I've turned the traction control off back there just to have a little play, and well, I couldn't get it to go very sideways. I do like this new interior. I mean, it's fundamentally the same as before, but these instruments are great. These seats, which are bespoke for the R, are also really nice and comfortable, but also really supportive. I'm sounding as if I really like the R, and I do.
Huge new 20-inch wheels and big fat P0 tyres fill the wheel arches to perfection in the new F-Type 575, while at the back the car looks wider and meaner generally, thanks to the various styling tweaks. Also at the rear, but underneath and out of sight, there's a new subframe, new dampers, different springs, different anti-roll bar and a new electronic diff. So you name it, they've changed it. All in the name of making the F not just sharper, but better to drive, full stop. And the straight line performance is pretty tasty as well, with 0 to 62 miles an hour taking just 3.7 seconds and a top speed of 186 miles an hour.
Okay, any flaws? Not really any major ones to think of. I mean, it still feels quite old-fashioned and cuddly in the way it goes down the road, as most front-engined four-wheel drive GT cars always will. I'm not absolutely 100% about the gearbox. They've changed it, they've changed the calibration. A lot of the stuff that they learnt from the Project 8 has been put into this gearbox, and it is better, it's faster, it's more responsive. But there's still, it doesn't snap like a PDK. But I mean, that really is picking the bones out of it. Overall though, I think the new F-Type R is an absolute belter of a sporting GT car. Cheers, Jaguar, and well done.
Click on the video windows to watch a first drive of the new 992 911 or an initial unboxing vid of the new F-Type. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video or on our logo to subscribe.